Hello everyone, Tina here for Papertrey Ink. I hope you're having a fabulous day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Today I'm super excited to share with you a Christmas card. We're using a new stamp set called the Christmas Bouquet. What it is it's a layering poinsettia, and there's a whole bunch of greenery and foliage that goes with it, and I thought we'd create a beautiful holiday card today. I am going to use the coordinating die set, and we're going to start by taking that coordinating die set, and I'm going to use some white cardstock and die cut this out. This just makes it easier for me to layer when I use my stamping positioner. I went ahead and die cut out my florals here and my foliage, and I basically inlaid them back into their home on my panel. This is just going to make it easier for repeat stamping. And we're going to start with our largest flower, which is this one here. I already chose some inks off to the side here. The inks that I'm using are from Papertrey Ink, and I will list them down below. But we'll take our largest poinsettia flower, and what we're going to do is add this. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up with the lid of my stamping positioner, and I think for my largest flower I want to create a pink one. So I'm going to use my pale Peony ink, and we'll go ahead and ink this up. I'm going to stamp this a couple times. I'm going to take my next layer. We're going to line this up. And for this layer, we're going to use Lovely Lady ink. And I'm going to stamp this a couple times also. I'm going to line up my next image, and we will layer this, and I'm going to use that same Lovely Lady ink for the inside of the flower here. And there is our third layer. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off, and then we do have a detailed layer for our flower, which is this one here. And we will add this. For my detail layer, I'm going to use a brown ink. I'm going to use dark chocolate, just because I like the contrast between them both. We'll go ahead and ink this up. And we will add the detail layer, and I just think that looks so gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this one more time with another flower. I'm going to go ahead and take my Lovely Lady ink. We'll ink up our middle flower. This flower here is actually the same exact flower that's on the inside of here. So we will ink that up. I am going to add a little detail layer to this one in just a minute, but I'm going to finish off with the rest of my flourishes. I'm going to take the leaf. We're going to line it up here. For my leaf, I'm going to use simply Chartreuse ink, and I'm going to create a couple of these too. So we'll stamp this, and then I'll just take this we will replace it and do a couple more. For my next layer, we're going to use Olive Twist, and we will add some detail on our leaf here. And I'll do the same thing a couple more times. For the pine needles, I'm going to use my New Leaf ink, and we'll just go over these. I love that there's two different types of pine needles here. Our pine needles are done. There is an extra layer to our pine needles, basically the stem, and so we will take that. Let me put these back. We're going to take our stem here. We will line this up. There is a stem for this pine needle and then this one. We're going to use our stamping positioner for this pine needle, but for this one, I'm going to use it on an acrylic block. For me, it's just a little bit easier. I'll take my dark chocolate ink, and we will add some pine needle branch to that. And then I will go ahead and then using my block, I'm going to go ahead and add my stem to this pine needle. For this leaf flourish here, I'm going to use a blue. This is Spring Rain because I want to keep with the soft theme of the florals. I think Spring Rain is going to work out beautifully. Sometimes it's nice to have a different color leaf other than green. I'm going to clean off this image, and then we're going to bring in the branch for this flourish. For this branch, we'll use Olive Twist ink. For our berries, I'm using Scarlet Jewel ink. And we'll go ahead and ink the berries up first. For the berry stem, I'm going to use my dark chocolate ink. And I lined it up already, so all we have to do is stamp, and it just creates the most beautiful berries. So, for the most part, our images are done. I do have one more poinsettia that I need to do, the smaller one. But I'm going to remove my flourishes here. And I'm going to leave this one in there because the same stamp that we used for this, we're going to use on this one. I may need to scoot this over a little bit. I just scooted over. I just scooted over my cardstock, and then we'll take this piece. We're going to line it up here, and then I'll pick it up with the lid of my stamping positioner, and then I'm going to go over this once more with my dark chocolate ink. Okay, so we have kind of a continuous pattern that we can use for layering. So I'll pick this up here, and I'm going to do it one more time since I'm going to create two flowers. We'll go ahead and add our dark chocolate ink here. And we just line it up. And I'll pick this up with the lid of my stamping positioner. For this one, I'm going to use my Harvest Gold ink. I'm going to stamp this a couple times. Wonderful. Okay, and then we're going to keep the yellow ink out. I'm going to go ahead and take the middle layer, and again we're skipping this layer here, so we're just using this one and this one. So we'll take this and we'll line this up, and then I'll use my same Harvest Gold ink and we'll ink up the center. I went ahead and placed the detail layer, and I'm going to use that same dark chocolate ink for this layer as well. And we'll go ahead and stamp that. We'll just ink this up one time, and then we will stamp this for a little added color. Now this poinsettia has the inside flower center too for layering, which is wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, using the same inks as we used for that top layer. Since we stamped this multiple times, I'm going to stamp this 2 or 3 times to get a darker impression for layering. Wonderful. I'm going to do the same thing to this next one. I moved my flower towards the center of my stamping positioner, and then I went ahead and added that vein piece. This way I can do multiple stampings. I'll go over this once more with my dark chocolate ink. We'll stamp this. Oopsie. And then this one is ready to layer. I'm going to go ahead and take the flower centers, and we'll stamp these on the layer that's going to be on top. And I'm using the same dark chocolate. We'll take the smaller one, and we will stamp the flower centers and the second layer here. Now all we have to do is our layering. I'm going to go ahead and use a foam square. We're going to add some adhesive in the center, and we can just line up these right in the center of our florals, and they will line up beautifully. We have plenty of our images stamped, and I did do multiples, you can see here. We're going to go ahead and frame our florals around one of the dice, the largest die set in the Love to Layer Beautiful Brackets die set. I'm going to take this and die cut this out with some white cardstock. I went ahead and adhered to an A2 panel of Spring Rain cardstock to my card base, which is a top folding A2 size card base. And then this is what our beautiful bracket looks like. It's just gorgeous. I love that dotted detail around the edge. This is where we're going to kind of frame it along the side. For my greeting, I'm going to be using the Papertrey Ink Winter Globe Sentiments. I'm going to stamp my greeting with my True Black ink. And I'm going to stamp it a couple times. Wonderful. And now we're going to go ahead and pop this up with some foam tape. I did put foam tape behind there for a little bit of dimension. And now we're going to go ahead and arrange our florals around our greeting. We'll use some foam tape behind here. And I'm loving the way this looks. I didn't add the larger leaves. although you very well could. But I do have plenty left over for another card project. For finishing touches, I'm going to bring in my diamond stickles, and we're going to add a little sparkle to the centers of our berries here. And then we're also going to add some to the center of the flowers. And then that will finish my card project today for Papertrey Ink. Kind of framing it around our greeting. But I thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.